what's your after hearing both Zach and Shane and Nick? Do you think that maybe we're off and that Shane's got a pulse? Because he was, look, the one thing I will say is he was right about Anthony, and we were all wrong about Anthony. Is he right? Is he going to be 2 for 2 this year? Right? I mean, there's out of everybody talking, out of everyone on here, he's the only guy that's played the game competitively.
That's true.
in all aspects. He doesn't just talk it; he's done it.
Yeah, you got to put it into factor. We are guys that cover Florida. We do not play the quarterback position, so he has more insight on the quarterback position than we do. And I do trust what Shane Matthews says, because a lot of the times when I listen to the Pod Up and he talks about something, he's right. So I mean, when I heard him talking about it, I think you got the video clip anyway, but I heard him talking about how Graham Mertz will vastly improve the offense. There's going to be a lot more passing in the offense instead of a lot more running, and I get, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, well, you're a quarterback. You've been in the NFL for over 10 years. You had a decade there. Am I going to trust your opinion now? Of course I am. So it gets me pumped up, because nobody really knows. Like right now, as we were talking about at Wisconsin, we obviously we'll make excuses for him, but like at the same time, he still put up those statistics and those numbers at Wisconsin, so we can't take that away from him. But in June, when you put him on a different team, what will he do? And then you got Shane Matthews talking about what he's been seeing in camps and how the arm his arm is so much better than a lot of the arms that he's ever seen in college football. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of fans pumped up there. And I think he predicted us going like 8-4 too. I think he said he doesn't think the team's all the way there yet, but he thinks the quarterback play is going to pick up. So
let's watch the clip here.
Go ahead, play the clip.
I saw one of your questions here while you're playing that tidbit there. Yeah. Somebody mentioned about how we're going to be run heavy and deke and dunk or something. That's not the case, folks. I don't know why that's a narrative out there. I think it's just because you actually have 4 really good running backs, but probably 2 that only people around the country know about. So they think you're going to lean heavy on the run. We're going to throw it around. They trust Graham Mertz. He's got a better arm than I had. He's got a better arm than Werfel had. He's extremely accurate. He knows the system. We're going to throw the football. I saw one of your questions here.
Here's something to note that too, right? He's not even saying that. Here's what I'm thinking. He's saying it with conviction, as if he had a conversation with Billy the night before, and I can imagine they're both just hanging out in their sofa, their lounger, bro,
like that,
bro, buddy.
That dude is comfy as could be, bro.
This is what. Listen up, okay? We're gonna throw it for 345 yards, 3 tutties a game, and we may hand the ball off.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Stevie?
Look, I mean, I can understand where everybody gets the concept that this is going to be a run-heavy offense, because if you just look at the history of Billy Napier, that's what he just likes to do. You also have, like Shane Matthews just said, premier backs that can carry a football team and get you where you want to be. And we saw that last year when Richardson struggled. Even with Richardson not being able to move the ball much, even against Florida State in the second half. I mean, you guys were still able to move the ball on the ground simply because of the running style and what Billy likes to do in that regard. Now, if they trust Mertz as much as Shane Matthews says that they do, then yeah, things could open up a little bit more and maybe they don't have to rely on that. But historically, from what you can see with Billy, what he's recruited, what he's emphasized in recruiting, I can understand why the majority of people will say they are going to rely on that running game heavily, especially to Dave's point with where Mertz seems to have the most accuracy on the field in those underneath routes. That just kind of bolsters having a solid running game and using the passing game when you need to get those 3 or 4 yards on third down.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Steve. I mean, it's so hard to predict how Graham Mertz is gonna be in this offense. I mean, just because there's so many different intangibles that he didn't have that Richardson had. And that's the only thing that we have right now is Richardson, what he did last year in Billy Napier's offense. And then obviously you've got transfers that came in and the roster's flipped and everything else. So it's really hard to compare, just because where Anthony Richardson excels, Mertz does it, and then vice versa. Mertz excels where Anthony Richardson doesn't. So it's kind of weird to think about that in an aspect. But like, and I also thought about this too, because Max Brown, he's a really good runner. Do you do kind of like the Chris Lee,
the Tebow?
Tebow kind of
Ooh. Ooh.
I mean,
Dave reaching deep in his pockets. Dave, don't do that. I mean, somebody clip that. They're gonna fire. That's gonna spice some people. I love that thought process. I don't think Billy has that in his arsenal.
You know what exactly they're gonna do if you do clip that and put it out there? They're gonna say, "Oh well, David said it's gonna be like Chris Leak and Tim Tebow now." That's exactly.
I mean, it's gonna be exactly the same thing. I completely agree that Max Brown's gonna be the next Tim Tebow, and Graham Mertz is a Chris Leak, a very underappreciated quarterback.
Oh,
You're not wrong, Dave.